Welcome to the Red River 22 2016 basketball show. Great season. All the basketball shooting around here is over with. But it was, for all our sports, I think basketball may have achieved the most this year.
I think by far it's going to go down as the best sport, like total result-wise, that we had this year. Better than football, better than anything else we can probably offer. I know we had teams go to state in volleyball and whatnot, but I just think basketball as a whole, just top to bottom, was just so competitive.
We had 3 teams away from one win away from state, and I don't know if we'll get that in baseball and softball. I mean, I think when you look at the big picture, just how deep a couple of our teams went. And, it's time to reward those good seasons with talking about the all Red River 22 teams.
Yeah, the Red River 22, we kind of stole the name years ago from football because it had 22, and we had 11 girls and 11 boys to make up a Red River 22 basketball. Yeah. And as soon as I started it, we couldn't then get rid of it because it kind of took off and took a life of its own. And eventually, originally it was just the best 11, girls and boys. And eventually we split it into a small school and a big school. But the small school team, I was just remarking on the girls, which will go first. The girls will be later this week, and then the boys will be the day after. The girls' small school team is excellent, and the girls' big school team with Ryder dominating was really good too.
Strong too, yeah. And I think it just comes down again. We just had a lot of depth as far as the programs go, and we want to dive into who made the teams. We have several girls that have been on these teams before. In fact, most of them have been on the teams before, the ones that did make it. But I chose Mercedes Brooks from Ryder as the MVP, second year in a row for her.
And probably the second year in a row, it was kind of, when you get down to 2 names, it was her and Tatum Weitenheimer, the sophomore out at Windthorst. Windthorst was able to make another regional tournament. She's going to have the next 2 years that she's going to be hard to beat for the MVP on her, I would think.
I just thought that the difference for me was the level of competition. Ryder played just at such a high level of competition throughout the year. I mean, they played top team after top team.
Didn't lose to a 5A team until the last game of the season.
And they were playing ranked 6A teams. They played multiple teams that went to state championship games. So I thought that they were at that level. And Mercedes she was the leader of that team.
Her numbers were good, but maybe her step up was defensively and with her versatility.
She can guard 5 positions. I mean, if you really would need her to guard 5 positions, she can handle that.
I think one of the things you look at this team, there's a lot of 3-year players on this. Mercedes, Ashley Reed of Ryder.
Ashley Reed's a 4-year player.
4-year player, yeah. And Courtney Brady of Bowie, and all these girls are finally graduating. It seems like we've been able to pencil in these names for a while.
Ashley Reed on there as a freshman when she was
she's newcomer of the year.
She was a 6th man.
Yeah, she stepped in.
And that started when Talia Brooks got hurt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
and a shout out to Talia. Hole and I still argue about which is the better Brooks, and since I covered Talia, I kind of she's one of my favorites. And you covered Mercedes more as she got better, and I've kind of seen her early career.
And another one not to leave off, but 2 other from Riders get on there as well. Corby Wingfield, this is her first Red River 22 team. Bree Harrison, this is her 3rd. And
what made Wingfield somebody you wanted to put on there?
I just thought she really busted out this year. She was 3rd on the team in scoring, averaged about 9 points a game, and became a really viable 3-point threat. I mean, you could get her open the corner, and she could knock them down. I mean, she had multiple games where she scored over 20 points. It was someone they had to really honor and helped open up the lane for Mercedes and Ashley.
I think there's a couple girls on this team worth noting that were seniors that meant so much to their team. Bree Jackson, one of the league's top scorers until she went down with an ACL injury, and Darby Biddy with Iowa Park. And Iowa Park didn't have a huge playoff run. They actually played Wiley real close that first round, and Wiley ended up going to state, which is pretty impressive. But those are a couple girls that meant so much to their team. Paradise Jackson from Burke Burnett. Burke had a nice run, and she was a big part of that as well.
She was the district MVP in that one, Paradise was. Darby, what she did against Abilene Wiley just kind of cemented her on this team. If there was any doubt, I didn't really have any doubt. I thought she was the best player in that district. She played on a team where she had to do so much all the time, every game. And she answered the bell.
She never came off the court.
Never came off the court. Other girls on the small team, Addie Cook was one I got back on there too. She was co-offensive player of the year in that district along with Bree Jackson, and really stepped up in the playoffs and late in the season for Bowie.
Once Cantwell went down, she became their second solid player, and she's only a junior. She's going to be back. Well, most of these girls are seniors, but Addie Cook is one of the few that will be back
Brady's
next year.
another repeater on the
Yeah,
team.
she's a three-time on there, and again, this led Bowie. You know, Bowie's had a real nice run here.
And in some eras, she would have won an MVP.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know,
Yeah, she just kind of came up along around the wrong time, I guess.
Yeah, and the last name on her we have mentioned, Holly Manos from Newcastle. She's a junior out there, and you know, Newcastle had a really strong year. They had won a district title.
Top 10
team throughout most of the season, and it continuously climbed up the polls. And she'll be back again next year too. And you can expect good things from Newcastle again. So I think it's a really good girls team. I think there's a lot of depth, and you know, I kind of agree. You put the two against. You took the small school team, and we put it against the big school team. It'd be pretty good.
It'd be actually a decent game.
Yeah, and of course we left out with as many Rider girls are on this team. I think it's pretty clear that Ramsey Gazelle was the coach of the year for them again. Yeah, what he's done with that Rider program, he came in and he's caught the girls that he's caught, and you know, very lucky to get the Brooks sisters to move in and help him out. But no, Coach does a great job. He studies hard, and man, I know he stayed up to about 2 or 3 in the morning.
At some point, they can't win 25 games.
No,
I'm not sure when that's going to be.
They're going to be good again next year. They're losing a lot of really good players, but he's got some good girls coming up. They're in contention for a district title again next year.
And was one of the toughest omissions, and I think I only saw her play 4 times, but if it was just judged on the 4 times I saw her, she would have been on this team, was Casey Trahan.
She had to be
just
considered.
Just a rebounding force. She kind of had to be considered for that large school team. But we do make it tight enough that you have to be really, really good. You have to be one of the best players in your district or your district.
Trahan was probably someone you probably felt like you could have gotten on. Sydney Clifton and Windthorst also, Windthorst. That was a tough one, to get her, leave her off. So I think a couple of those girls are girls that were right there. But yeah, we're not like the all district teams these days.
Exactly.
It's real hard
put everyone
to make this
on.
team.
Yeah, there's even a couple girls in in the 9-3A district. Mackenzie Franklin from Nocona that had to be considered, and the other girls, Cameron Weaver from Henrietta, had to be considered. So it's a tough team to make when you're only choosing 5 from each side.
Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for reading us throughout the season. It's been really fun to report on this high school season.